Well, where do I start?
Take your time.
So at the age of 22, I was married. Drug addiction was part of my husband's lifestyle. At that point, I wanted to become a drug and alcohol counselor, and I became a drug and alcohol counselor. I went to school because at some point I was a normie. I was dealing with clients, that lost their kids to the system, and I always told myself that's never gonna be me. Everything I said I wasn't gonna become, I became. You self-medicate for any little reason, whether it's joy, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whatever it is. That's just how I started dealing with life. And slowly but surely, I lost my job. I got fired. I lost my home. I was in a point in my life where I just wanted to end my life. We were living in a van with all 5 kids, me and my husband. We would literally go behind Smart and Finals, Burger Kings, and just feed them food from the dumpster. The domestic violence intensified, but I was okay with it because I got comfortable. When I say domestic violence, I'm talking about like physically beat downs, every day, breaking my ribs, that type of stuff. My oldest at that time was 5. He would come in between and, kind of try to save me or rescue me to a certain extent, So there was a lot of occasions where cops were called over. Another day, common day for us, we were parked behind a building with no gas, and Santa Ana PD rolls up, and ends up telling us that the owner wanted us to be out. And I remember there was an officer who walked up to me and pulled me to the side and said, "This is not the way for your kids to live. Is this what you want? Because I can help you." And I just remember that day, I broke down. As soon as he said that, I knew, yes, this is the beginning of something great. So June 26, 2016, my children were taken away by CPS, and at that point, I came to realize that there was a God out there. It was in rehab where my counselor brought Thomas House into my attention. I then, started looking into it, and I kept calling every day. I did that for 65 days, I think, and then finally a bed opened.
How did your addiction impact your children?
My addiction took me to a lot of dark places, and things that I look back at today where I wonder what kind of mother does those things, Having that CPS case open allowed all these resources to be able to come together and help them, first and foremost, help them. Today, now, by the grace of God, I have 28 months sober, and I can honestly say that they're not where they used to be mentally. They have been relieved. They now have a sense of security, knowing that they're safe, knowing that I'm sober, knowing that I'm not who I used to be. Coming from the streets, coming from living in a car, coming from being restricted, of your surroundings. To us, coming into that shelter was just amazing. My kids had their own room, even though they shared, a room, they had their own bed, something that they hadn't had in a long time. My God, the staff are just very compassionate, very loving, very empathetic. Not once did I ever feel judged or labeled. I felt always just accepted, accepted for who I was. And there was a lot of empowerment that I was able to get from that program. So Thomas House is a program that I'm very grateful for. It has allowed me, being a dysfunctional addict, become someone that's able to function in society. Thomas House has given me the tools to be able to be successful. For, I want to say, 10 years, my life revolved around drug addiction. That's all I knew, that's all I wanted, that's all I cared for. But Thomas House gave me a different purpose. I also came into Thomas House broke, without nothing to my name. Now I own a vehicle. I am now currently living in my own condo in Garden Grove. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And while I was at Thomas House and having that job, I was able to save, a couple of months worth of rent and save enough for my security deposit. And the fact that, I had a great case manager who advocated for me. I am a changed person. I'm a person with gratitude. I'm a person with hope. foremost, I'm a mother, a mother that I never knew it was possible for me to become. My children have gained their mom, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually. So I just want to start off by thanking the founders, Thomas House, all around, all staff members, from the beginning to, the management and to the director. And I also want to thank all the supporters and partners that have partnered with Thomas House up until today to be able to provide what they provide and make this program a successful program. I will forever be grateful for Thomas House.